What's up, everybody? Live on a Wednesday night. My name is John Marks. Delco Steve will be along in a second. Bad storms in the area. I lost internet at like the power. Lost it for like half a second, and then the internet goes down. Then I'm like waiting for it. I'm like, all right, where's the Wi-Fi? Where's the Wi-Fi? And then finally it came back. But we are back. And I said it's a Wednesday night. My wife just walked in, so she'll be coming down here to get the kids' monitors in a second. As I was, and I can handle it, Delco Steve. I got both. You can't see it because of the whatever, but both monitors here. All the kids are asleep. Did a good job getting them to bed. Not a problem. They've been asleep for a while. So anyway, got hit with some. Yeah, I was wondering this too, because Richard Lewis passed away earlier today. I think he was 76, and like I had to think for a second, like what do I even really know Richard Lewis from? What is the big, like what's his biggest role that he had? Is it Curb Your Enthusiasm? Because that was 2000, so that's the last 24 years where he was a recurring character on the show. I know he had some health problems and he didn't do at least one season, and he wasn't in every episode outside of that, but he was awesome on that show. Delco Steve, what do you know? Where do you know him from? Like when I bring up Richard Lewis, where do you know him from?
I only know him from Curb and a random scene in 2.5 Men.
So if you look at like his history of what he's done as far as an actor, he's done a lot of TV in either reoccurring roles on shows, or he'll do he's a guest star. He'll be in like one episode of a show. When you look at it, I mean, he's been a comedian for decades. He was on Johnny Carson's show in the 70s. I think I first remember him. He was on a show with Jamie Lee Curtis. If you remember this, do we have that picture, Steve? What the hell was the name of that show? God, I didn't even put it down here. Let me see. It was Jamie Lee Curtis, Anything But Love. And I remember him I remember that show. That was like had to be early 90s. And he had the big hair. And I remember him for being on Howard Stern. And here's Liz. Hi. How are you? How was dinner? It was good? All right.
What up, Liz?
How's that outside? Windy? Yes? Okay. You come on the camera for a second. Give your husband a kiss.
Do you like your new living room?
She can't hear you because I have the headphones on. All right, see you in a little bit. So that's Richard Lewis, Jamie Lee Curtis, and he's got the hockey haircut. He's got the mullet right there. He's a handsome man. That was 35 years ago. And then the second picture is me and Richard Lewis. And this was. Do you remember this, Steve?
I do. I was there.
I was figuring you were there that day.
I was.
Richard Lewis comes in. This is when I worked with Anthony in the morning. So Jamie, MCW, Anthony, me, and Richard Lewis came in to promote something. I honestly have no idea what it was.
No clue.
But the real question is, why am I dressed the way I'm dressed? And Richard Lewis is giving the middle finger. Yes, he is giving the middle finger to the camera. So I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't. This was taken December 17th, 2015.
Yep.
And I don't know why. Here's what I do know. I was doing Hoodie Footie commercials for Pajama Gram. Remember they used to have the Hoodie Footie pajamas? That's an actual Hoodie Footie pajama. It's a bunny suit without a hat.
Were you guys on camera at that point too?
No.
In the studio?
No. There was never any video capability at the Fanatic when I worked there at all. That came after I left, of course. No, so I was wearing that.
Well, you
by the
way, broke
the
camera anyway, so that's
I got that. That's actually I got it from my wife because when you do the commercials, they're like, here's a free Hoodie Footie. So I was like, oh, cool. But I mean, really, what it is, it's like a onesie you look like a bunny rabbit, has a hood, but there's no rabbit head.
I was gonna say there's no ears.
No, there's no ears. And it was really, because my wife's short, so it was really, really tight. And as you can see, and as some people pointed out, I was a little thick during that.
I just noticed something else. Never mind.
Uh-oh. Well, he didn't. Did he excite me? Is what the question is. I was so and Richard.
I think he did. I think he did.
He was like I said, it was very tight. He was and like he was like immediately he's like, why is he wearing that? Oh, like off the air. He's like, why is he wearing that? Like, what kind of an asshole is he? Like what is he doing? And he liked me. And I could tell he liked me because he kept being like, the fuck is wrong with that guy? And then he took the picture and he gave me the finger for the picture, which was awesome. Here's the problem with the picture. It's not a picture. So I'm like, I got to get a picture with Richard Lewis, right? Like I love this guy. I love Curb. I've been many years. I've been a fan of his work. He's very funny. And Aton is there because this must have been like closer to 10 o'clock. So like Aton was there. And of course he probably tried to come in during the commercials and like say hi and maybe take a picture. I don't know what he was doing, but he had my phone on the video and he couldn't.
So it's a video?
It's a picture of a video, but the video was like half of a second.
Can you if you unclick the screen, it'll take the play button away, and then you should be able to screenshot.
No, it is here's all I know. I don't remember when I took the screenshot of it. That is the only picture I have.
Oh, you don't even have the video anymore.
I don't even have it. No, because it was like it wasn't even long enough to do anything with. Like he didn't even take a 3-second video. It was like literally like 0.4 of a second video. Because I remember taking the picture and I'm going, dude, what are you doing? Just take the picture. What's the problem? Like, do you need my passcode? What are you doing? He's like, no, I got it. And then there's like 10 of those where these really short videos. And it's like, fuck, Aton. Look at that, man. So anyway, that's what that picture is. That was actually a video that I took.
We could just crop out your from above the play button up and it's just a nice close-up of you too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that was during the days when I was eating for breakfast. I was having the Wawa, the extra large Wawa coffee and 2 for $3 Reese's peanut butter cups. So you got 6 of them. You got the Big Daddies, the 3 in a thing, 2 for $3. So I was eating that because this was December and this is when I would do it. And I was eating 3 Big Macs for lunch. So I probably was like $1.75 there for the fattest I ever was. That's also baby. It's also baby weight too. Yeah, no, that's also baby weight. My daughter was just born. So I was fat from that as well. But there you go. So rest in peace, Richard Lewis, dead at the age of 76. I didn't realize that he'd been diagnosed with Parkinson's a couple years ago. So he had health problems. And yeah, like he was just, I don't even, like a lot of times when you see someone, because Richard Lewis is pretty famous, right? Like pretty famous for not having, like, what's his biggest role outside of Curb? And even Curb, it's kind of like a weird, I don't know how many people saw Curb or didn't see Curb.
I saw Curb when it came back. That's when I watched it for the first time through.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I stopped watching Curb. I just got, I don't know. Like, but the first couple seasons of it were amazing.
When it came out, I was in high school, I think, and all my buddies watched it. And it wasn't my humor at that time. And then I watched it older and it made a lot more sense and I enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah. And you have to know like the history and the background of Larry David and kind of the character that he's playing, which is really him. And it's George Costanza as well, because he was George Costanza on Seinfeld. But I was a big Seinfeld fan, and Curb came out, and I was like, wow, this is really funny. Yep. Jeff Garlin was amazing in it.
Seinfeld too. I didn't like Seinfeld when I was younger, and then as I got older and watched it again, and it was like, okay, this is funny.
Robin Hood Men in Tights. Yes, he was. See, he was in a lot of movies, and he was good in a lot of movies, but like they're all kind of complimentary roles, or like, I'm trying to figure out what his biggest movie role was. He was in, I didn't know this, he was in Wagons East. And Wagons East is only famous, and that's 1994. It was the last movie that John Candy started before he died. Or like he filmed it and he died after that. He was never in, that was like the last movie that he was in. Yeah, Leaving Las Vegas, I remember him in that. So really, like you had said, Steve, he's been in a lot of, like if you look at his if you look at the work his filmography he did on television, I mean, he was in like this show for a series, this show for 13 series, Daddy Dearest, that I vaguely remember. He was in 13 episodes, but he was almost like a professional
hitman.
Well, he looked like it. how
I
he dressed.
I bet like one show out of it, like into the next show, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Mercenary.
he would do an episode. He was in 9 episodes of Seventh Heaven. Were you a Seventh Heaven fan? Didn't
No,
that father end up being a? I don't want to
no,
say it and be wrong and get
no.
sued.
I don't know. No, I was
Christ,
never a Seventh Heaven fan.
yeah, no, he got he was investigated for sexual abuse. So anyway, yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
I don't think I've seen any of his stuff besides Curb Your Enthusiasm.
He was a great Stern guest, but
He,
probably
he
if
was in
you
a
like
Limp Bizkit music video.
which one?
I don't
No
know.
way. Was he really?
It's in his IMDb right now.
Ah.
I'm gonna have to find that.
Yeah, so for like he has a lot of credits for a lot of stuff, but it's like it's outside of Curb, it's tough to. He was a comedian, he was a stand-up comic, obviously. So that's what he is best known for. I always related to him being a fan of his stand-up because he battled at one time drug and alcohol addiction, which that's not why I I relate to him or I appreciated him, but like he also talked about his idiosyncrasies and the like mental issues that he had, anxiety, depression, and things like that. And I don't have necessarily the anxiety, but man, I've been through bouts and battles of depression and stuff like that. And it was a part of his act, right? Like I feel like that being on radio and it's getting me in trouble, or it's gotten me in trouble in my personal life, but like for the most part, being an open book and talking about things like that, everybody can relate, man. Like I've been through a couple periods of my life where maybe I didn't maybe even realize how depressed I was, and I was really, really depressed. So, but he was just he was a dark comedian. He had a dark side that he didn't mind talking about, but he was awesome. He really was. I was a big fan of Richard Lewis, and that's when like sometimes when you get a lot of opportunities to have people whatever they're promoting, they'll come through. And like when the Fanatic was when I worked at the Fanatic, that's in the same office complex as MMR. So you have Preston and Steve, you have MGK, which back then was John DeBell, and now my former producer Steve Basilotti's working with Matty Cord. You have the Ben morning show. So you can literally in like an hour and a half, you can do 4 morning shows and promote everything that you want to at that point. So you get a lot of opportunities. 90% of the time in sports radio, you say no to it. Preston and Steve might take it. DeBella might take it. But for sports radio, it's kind of like, eh. But when you see a Richard, it's tough because does your audience really care? And frankly, do I really care? And if I don't care, then, and I can't put on a good segment, people are going to tune out. If I'm like excited about it, I can do a good segment. I think I can make it good radio. But like Gilbert Gottfried came in the studio. Do you remember Gilbert Gottfried coming in, Steve? No. It was I think it was a couple months after that because I have a picture of that I took with Gilbert. It's an actual picture. He passed away recently in the last couple of years too. And Gilbert Gottfried you would think he would be very loud and obnoxious just based on everything that he's done. And very, very quiet, didn't really say much. And then when the red light went on and it was like, boom, put your microphone
on.
Right into character, man. It was amazing. Obnoxious, loud.
Got to save all his energy.
Yep, for sure. Yes, but like kind of soft spoken, nice. Don't get me wrong, nice. Because I, and maybe I didn't talk to him about the Stern stuff because they banned him in Stern. I forget when that happened, but I loved Gilbert Gottfried for years, and him coming in. So it's like those guys coming in, it's like awesome. But it's few and far between in sports radio when you get guys to come around. I can't tell you the last time I had a comedian in studio or anything like that. But anyway, Richard Lewis, R.I.P. Everybody's getting old and dying there. Delco Steve, including me. I'm not dying, but I'm getting old here. And Virgil,
I feel it every day, buddy. And I'm only 32.
Oh man, you'll be 50 before you know it. Also, I was informed by Vince, one of our dieharders on here, that Virgil, the former, I don't even want to call him a wrestler because no one knows him from wrestling. He was Ted DiBiase's manager or like chauffeur. He died at the age of 61. Another former wrestler that died at a young age. Yeah. So there's the famous picture out there that's I don't even know how many years ago now, but he was at a wrestling convention and there's a line with like 30 people next to him of people waiting to get stuff signed by whoever the wrestler was. And then Virgil sitting at a table and nobody's there. And it's just him at a table all alone. Poor Virgil. But what can you do? All right. Did you see the NFLPA came out with the survey? This is a new thing, right?
I think it's the last few years.
Yeah, I remember seeing it last year because they
updated it this year from last. They added a few extra categories this year.
They added a couple extra categories. I remember from last year there was a couple things that it was like the players didn't like the locker room, and I guess they still don't really love it. But if you look at it, Lincoln Financial Field was built in 2003, which means it was designed in 2000 or like. Right. You know what I mean? So
quarter century ago, almost.
Right. I mean, seriously, look at it. Like we don't think of Citizens Bank Park and the Link being old. Like 20 years, 25 years old. A Veterans Stadium after 20 years, we were ready to sink it. The place was a dump.
I would say you're lucky it didn't fall down after 25 years.
Right. And these places are good, so they don't need new stadiums. It's not going to be that long until the Eagles are asking for a new stadium. Maybe a little bit.
What do you think of the Sixers thing?
I mean, it's understandable they want their own stadium. So
I think it's a big waste of money downtown, don't you think?
I don't necessarily think that whole area they're trying to put the stadium in desperately needs to be developed. It's terrible. Wow. They can't figure out the fashion district. They can't figure out what to do with it. The problem is that it's going to invade and it's going to go into Chinatown, and they do not want that arena built in Chinatown. I remember when the Phillies were trying to figure out where they were going to go, and the three sites were South Philly, Broad and Spring Garden, or it was like 11th or 12th and Vine, 11th and Vine. And for whatever reason, I'll never forget it, but the residents of Chinatown had these yellow shirts on, and the shirt said "No Stadium Chinatown," and they marched, and I must have seen them march like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 times over the course of 6 months. No Stadium Chinatown. No Stadium Chinatown. And so I was like, they're not going to build a stadium in Chinatown. These people aren't going to allow it. So I think that the biggest opposition is how to get it past the residents of Chinatown, because they're going to be pissed if you try to do this. The studies have shown what it does to neighborhoods, and it pushes them out, and that's where they live. Yeah. So I mean, definitely. Like we can say I don't give a bleep, move somewhere else. I'm not going to say that. All I'm saying is that I'm looking at it from a big picture standpoint. 76ers are tenants in the Wells Fargo Center. Their lease ends in what, like, I don't know how many years, like 6 years, 7 years, 8 years.
I think it's 5 or it's just over 5 at most.
Right. So they will, like, right now they need to get this done because when their lease is over, they would have moved into a new spot. So they're trying to get it done in Philly. They tried the waterfront. Now they're trying here. All I'm saying is if you want the 76ers to play in New Jersey, then don't build a stadium for them in Philadelphia, because that's where they're going to go. And honestly, if I'm the owner of the 76ers, I'd do the same. Public money helps finance stadium projects for billionaires. Joshua Harris is a billionaire, but guess what? You get tax credits, you get tax breaks or whatever. This dude's going to make so much money developing the area around the stadium. That's what he wants to do. So you have the arena, but then you have everything else, and you totally wipe out what's there, and it becomes this whole new thing. I don't care, because I'm not going to a lot of 76ers games anyway. I would much rather drive to South Philly and just be able to park. But, I mean, I'm also not going to – I would love to have had a Philly stadium at Broad and Spring Garden, just aesthetically, with everything.
Yeah, I'm with you on the transportation thing. I'm not going to go to a game down there because of that. And I think it's cool that we have – I wouldn't go to a game down in the Fashion District for the Sixers.
You would not?
No.
You'd be turned off from it.
Yeah, because I drive down, and to take public transportation from here would be terrible.
Well, can't you
just terrible? It'd just be annoying.
No, I mean, you're Delco. Just go to 69th Street, bro.
Yeah, that's not my cup of tea.
No,
I don't fit in. I don't fit in down 69th Street. That's for sure. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. How to get onto a train? I barely know how to get out of my own house.
Is that right? Have you never taken public transportation?
No, I do. I just don't do it that often, so I have to like refresh myself every time I do it.
So that really means you haven't taken public transportation.
Oh, probably haven't done it in the last 4 or 5 years either.
Okay.
Down to the city from 69th Street? No.
Yeah. John McCarthy brings up a good point. Come on, man. Yeah, the original
rail. I'm not in Ridley. I'm in Westbrook Park.
But you drive to Ridley. The original rail goes right to City Hall or goes right to Market East. So you easily could get in there. Here's what I'm saying.
Then I got to wait for times and stuff. I just want to get in my car and go.
Dude, yeah, like if I wanted to see the Sixers that bad, I would go in the city. I'd go to a game in the city. But it presents a lot of different challenges that from like I have 3 young kids. Do I want to be taking 3 young kids if they want to go to a game on a train, have to park somewhere, get on the train, take the train? You can't leave when you want to leave. The answer is no.
That's my thing. That's my thing. No. I want to leave when I want to leave.
Yes, me too. I don't have to worry about, well, the train's coming in 15 minutes. We got to run. And
when I was at WIP, I could take the train. There's a train right down the street from me that would run right into WIP. And it's like, cool, great. I get out of work and the train's 45 minutes away. I would like to just go home.
Right, exactly.
Instead of sit there for 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, a lot of people used to say to me, why not just take the train into the city when I worked at 24th and Market? And it's like, because then I got to drive to Paoli or to Norristown. Then I got to park. I got to take the train all the way in. And then I got to walk from the train station. And then I got to walk back to the train station. And I got to go. Like, no, it's just park at a parking garage and go. No one's taking the train.
Right in my building.
No, but that's really what it came down to. It was just like, no, I'm just not going to I'll get a new job. I don't want to do this anymore. Like literally that commute killed me. If the station was in Bala Cynwyd, I'd probably still be working there. Honest to God. If I didn't have to do that, if I didn't have to deal with parking and the drive and everything, I probably would have stayed. That was the nail in the coffin. Better. Oh my God. Yeah.
So much better at WIP.
You drive up in when I worked at the Fanatic, you drive up in the parking lot and you park your car and you're walking into the building.
Yep.
And you don't pay city wage tax.
In the morning, we're parking right in the front.
Oh, dude. And there were people getting like the one morning girl that she's no longer with the station, but someone like tried to snatch her when she was walking in 24. Oh yeah. Yeah. They had to go to court and stuff for it.
Oh my
God.
God.
Like I think Spike got punched by somebody when we first moved into the building. That's an area because you're right down by the river. So there's people that sleep down by the river and stuff. And that's you're not in Center City. You're kind of on the outskirts in between where the city ends and where 30th Street is. Yeah, like people were getting mugged and stuff and punched. So screw that. Anyway, so we're talking about the
NFL.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, there you go. So we're talking about, can you pull up that slide from Jeff McClain? So the NFLPA, this is I remember it only one other time. Maybe it's been before, but the Eagles they're now 4th in the league as far as a survey that the Players Association hands out to all the players. And there's a lot of different categories, as you can see: treatment of families, food service, weight room, strength coaches, training room, training staff, locker room, team travel, new categories of the nutritionist, head coach, and owner. So last year, and actually treatment of families, this is weird. I've seen this with a number of organizations. The treatment of families, players don't like the way, and this seems like it's on game days, they don't like the way that their families are treated. And I think it comes down to like, they don't maybe have like a big area they can go before the game and after the game. Because getting a C for the treatment of families down from a B- last year is pretty bad. That means that you think that
you can't be good at that. I feel like that's the easiest thing on this list.
Yeah, and I did read this. I saw this as well, T. Like the Bengals and I think the Cardinals get Fs for the way that they treat the families.
Put their families in
a tent. Right. Yes, and then you'll get other teams that also have it. But some takeaways here before we nail into the Eagles stuff. Dolphins, Vikings, Packers, Eagles, Jags are the top 5 teams in the report cards. The bottom 5, Steelers, Patriots, Chargers, Chiefs, Commanders. Now, Commanders doesn't surprise me because that is a toilet for a stadium.
Chiefs, I'm surprised the Jags are top 5.
They must
have you ever been to Jacksonville Stadium? It is easily the worst stadium I've ever been in my life.
No, I haven't.
Like by far.
So it's more than the stadium. A lot of these are like the facility, and I don't think they have a modern facility because they were talking about building this new stadium and then building maybe they have a facility and they don't have a stadium. But some of the stuff
I'm just saying, just based on their stadium, you would assume all their other stuff is crap too.
So the Chargers were one of 6 teams to receive an F. Some got an F- for treatment of families. The Chargers charged $75 for the first child in an offsite daycare facility and $50 for each additional child per family. And they're not the only team to do so. The Tampa Bay Bucks charge players' families $90 per child. Most teams offer the service for free. The Bengals, Patriots, Steelers, and Commanders all received F- for their treatment of families, which focus on services available to players and their families on game days. The Commanders finished in last place overall. But so I want to get to this thing. Oh, so let me get this straight, Steve. So the Chargers, who are a business, by the way, right? And I know that they operate as a business. These are billionaires, but they're a business, right? So they have the nerve to charge their players for daycare for their children. To very well-paid, rich football players, right? So I don't see what the problem is. Well, you have to give that to them for free. You have to watch their kids for free as well. I know that it's the norm in the NFL that they supply the child care. I actually never even thought about it before. I just figured that these players make a lot of money. They should just take care of it on their own, like the rest of us do.
Yeah, you would think that'd be the case.
So they're sure that they're having to pay for childcare? Like, really? All right. I mean, I guess if 24 or 25 other teams take care of it, I didn't realize that.
Well, the Chargers owner is notoriously cheap.
Cheap, yes.
Like, he won't fire a coach early because he doesn't want to be paying two coaches at the same time.
Yeah, he's notoriously cheap. That's why people didn't think that they would hire Jim Harbaugh
Correct.
Jim Harbaugh because he wouldn't pay him, but he did. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. That
I feel like that should just be taken care of. I would want my player. If I was the owner, I'd want my players in the best state of mind. They're not worrying about anything. Just go out and play football, play your best, and let's go win.
I would too. Honestly, even though I'm complaining about them not getting free childcare,
they make billions. These guys, they can afford.
The players make millions. What about me?
I know. But the owners make a lot more, and they can afford to do a lot of stuff. So
yeah, they can. Bengals players reported that half of the showers in the locker room did not work properly and lack either hot water or sufficient water pressure. They also said there were 5 functioning toilets for the entire team.
Imagine the offensive lineman after lunch.
That's what I'm saying. These are big dudes. A lot of big dudes. Coaches.
A lot of protein.
Yeah, man. Like, and they're animals too, these players. A lot of football locker room. God. In Tampa, Buccaneers players described the locker room as unclean and smelly. They also cited seeing bugs consistently in the showers. Commanders players reported, yeah.
They have pomato bugs everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if if you brought in a pest control or something that they should take care of it. I mean, if there's bugs consistently in the showers, you'd think that they would be able to take care of it.
You would think
by getting pest control. Commanders players reported multiple sewage leaks in their facility, and the team's home stadium lacked hot water. I remember that one, actually. 2 other clubs besides Washington received failing grades for the way they travel. Tennessee makes players sit in the back of the plane where they don't fit, while the staff sits in first class. They're one of 7 teams to require players to have roommates the night before games. Tampa gives younger players the option to not have roommates if they pay the team $1,750 for their own room.
That's bad.
All right, so hold on. They can't give them their own hotel room.
That's a write-off. You don't need to pay for that.
So there was when I would go to spring training with the Fanatic, Mike Miss would go when I worked with Mike. Mike would go and have his own room, and then they would bring an engineer down with them, and the engineer would share a room with me, and and I liked the engineer, but I was also like, and it got to a time I was like, listen, can I have my own hotel room? Come on, I'm an adult. You really have to share a hotel room with somebody? Come on, man, I'm an adult. They give hotel rooms for free. Have the Phillies give another hotel room. And then they wouldn't give the engineer a hotel room, so they made him go down the street to some motel.
Some Bobo?
Oh, dude, some crackhead, definitely pimps driving around hotel. All right, so that's that. So the Eagles, food service, A. Weight room, A-. Strength coaches, A-, down from an A+. Training room, improved. Training staff, great. Locker room, up, but not great. Team travel, C. So I think that's because not everybody gets first class. And it's up from a D, though. Nutritionist, dietitian, B. Head coach, A. Owner, A. So a lot of people pointed this out, that if there was a problem with the head coach, how the hell is he getting an A? So just by comparison, Bill Belichick ranked 31 out of 32 in this poll by the players. They ranked him second to last. A lot of this stuff is, and this is where I think it comes from, is how, as far as the time and managing their time, like Josh McDaniels was 32. He's a Bill Belichick guy. Bill Belichick was 31. Nick Sirianni is known for being efficient with time. He's not going to have guys around to have guys around. You come in, you do your work, you go home. And like a lot of times, Brandon Graham would call on our show right at 2 o'clock. He's in the car driving home. So a lot of times their days were done at 2 o'clock. But Sirianni was very efficient, and those practices weren't long in training camp. You know what I mean? But it does have to go above that. It has to go.
He also skipped a lot of practice. He always restricted practices and canceled practices for the players.
He did. He was very pro player, and they appreciate that. I don't think I still think players like Nick Sirianni. See, one of the questions I asked was about the team. Like, obviously there was some type of an issue at the end of the year that wasn't just X's and O's. So was this a player coach thing? Was this a coach player thing? Was this a player thing? And just seeing this survey right here, I don't know when they asked the players. If it was after the season, I probably should know that.
That made me chuckle. Right after the KC game.
Right. Yeah. So everybody gets A's. I still think the guys like Nick Sirianni, especially in a players association thing, because I think this was more about like, how does he treat them? How are they treated than anything else? But the whole survey goes that Jeffrey Lurie, I can sit here and bitch and complain about Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie. Really, I can't complain about Jeffrey Lurie, but he's thought to maybe meddle and be too involved in football operations and whatever. And that feels like a couple years ago than right now. But he's a top owner in the NFL. The Eagles are a top organization in the NFL. And I'm not happy with where they are right now. And I know nobody's happy with where they are right now. But if you look at what they've done since they've won the Super Bowl, they have been one of the better teams in the NFL. Kansas City has 2 Super Bowls. The Eagles have been to 2 Super Bowls, 1. Or does Kansas City have more than 2 Super Bowls in those years? They have to, right?
They have 3 total.
They have 3 in those years.
3 in 5 years.
Yeah. So you look at the Eagles, and it's like, all right, yeah, like this year sucks, and I can't believe it's an historic collapse, and et cetera, et cetera. But you look at the Eagles the last however many years, and I'm trying to pull up their Pro Football Reference right now. I think they've made the playoffs 6 or 7 years.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of teams in the NFL.
Oh, there were so many teams in the NFL that would kill to have the Eagles past 10 years.
Yeah, so last 7 years, lost wild card round this year, lost in the Super Bowl, lost in the wild card round, missed the playoffs. That's Doug's last season. Lost wild card, lost division round, won the Super Bowl. 6 or 7 years in the playoffs is winning a Super Bowl and going to another Super Bowl is that's top organization stuff. Now he's got to do this is the problem. Now you got to do it again. Now you're going to have to turn everything over and do it again. Because like Josina Anderson today had put out there that she had heard that Hassan Reddick is that teams are inquiring. She tweets, "I'm told several teams have expressed interest in trading for Eagles linebacker Hassan Reddick per source." So like that could just be an agent told her that. Who knows if it's true or not, but he's a hell of a player. And I don't know what a team's giving up and giving him a new contract. I would say the best chance, or one of the best chances of happening, is that he's back in his final year and he probably is just not happy about it. Because the Eagles aren't just going to give him away for a 4th round draft pick. He's too good.
You got to hope for like the Chris Jones type deal where they add the incentive money on, where if you get
and they may do that
11, 12 sacks, you get an extra $2 million, or they make the playoffs, you get $250,000. You play a certain amount of games, you get $250,000. It's make it work.
It's a really good point, and that's probably what they will do and they should do.
Yeah, and that's the easiest solution. That's the cap money goes to next year anyway, just like any extension or signing bonus prorated over a few years would be.
And it's also leverage for the Eagles to say, like, hey, listen, like, you bring your contract demands down a little bit, you can get an extension, but we're not paying you $100 million guaranteed or whatever he's asking for, because that's what an edge rusher is going to want. Now, he's been one of the best pass rushers in football. This was a hell of a contract signed that Howie Roseman signed.
Oh, when they got him, it was a steal.
Man, right? So you want to reward him. I know the Eagles probably want to reward him, but they also, like, if I'm his agent right now, I'm asking for 6 years and $150 million or whatever the going rate is right now.
He still is a scheme fit type player, though. Like, maybe not to the he's not Jason Babin scheme fit type player, but he can't play certain positions. He's not dropping in the coverage on a regular basis and all that.
So no, he's an edge rusher. No,
It's like, so what, are you going to pay him in the TJ Watt type money because he's not TJ Watt?
Well, they don't want to. No, right. You're right. They don't want to.
So like, you got to make some kind of a agreement with him where if you perform like these guys, you're going to make that money on these bonuses. And if not, then you're going to get paid what you get paid.
He plays next year 30. He turns 30 in September. He has had in 4 years in a row now, 12.5 sacks with Arizona, signs with Carolina, 11 sacks, goes to the Eagles, 16, and then didn't have 3.5 in the playoffs in the Super Bowl runs. So he had,
I can pull it up.
I think that's what he had. So he had 19.5 sacks in 20 games. And then he had 11 this past year for the Eagles. And he started the season banged up to where, if you remember early in the season, it was like, oh, this is trouble. He wasn't good the first couple games. He was still, what do you have, a busted thumb or hand or something like that? So
in 4 playoff games, he's got 7 tackles, 3 assists, 3.5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. So it might not have all been in that Super Bowl run, but it's pretty good numbers for 4 playoff games.
Well, so there you go. I don't know if he's going to be. I don't know if he's going to be with the team this year. We'll see. So it's also mock draft season. Are you a mocker?
Yeah, 100%. Draft is one of my favorite sporting events of the year.
Well, we'll get along very well because I love it too. I can't get enough. I love the NFL draft. It's so
inject the combine numbers into my veins.
Yeah, I don't pay
much attention.
I don't pay attention to the combine, but then after the combine, I read what everybody says about all the players. Because anymore, you'll hear a lot of coaches don't even go to the combine. It's more or less a networking event. The agents are there. This is where like Howie and some agents are talking about stuff. And then a lot of the reporters and team personnel, they're out drinking at night and shooting the shit.
I think it's a lot about the medicals too, getting the check in on these guys yourself, getting your hands on them yourself, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So, but the draft itself, and I love the free agency starting as well, but the draft itself. So Mel Kiper put out his mock draft 2.0. Who's your go-to mocker? Can you just Google mock drafts or?
I do Google. I like looking at a bunch of different mock drafts. My go-to guy would be McShay.
So didn't they whack him from ESPN?
Did they? No.
I think he's gone.
No, I missed that.
Yeah.
No, where
Matt
was
Miller.
I?
Let me see.
What'd he do? Come on, Todd.
I think they just, they're like, well, why do we need this guy? He had a lot of, what did he have that was going on? Like he was out for, he took a break in 2021 to focus on his health and his family. He was unsteady on camera, and I never really heard anything else about it. But he returned. He turned a couple months later. Yeah, he was laid off in June. There you go. Because I liked McShay and Kiper. I liked it. Mel Kiper was a
Kiper jumped the shark for me. I loved him when I was a kid, but now he's just so over the top.
See, I still like him.
I like him. I think he's good. His shtick just annoys me now.
Yeah. Well,
I think he knows what he's talking about. I think he's very smart with the draft, and obviously he's the first one to ever do it. He pretty much invented all this stuff, so he's great at it. But his shtick just annoys me.
Well, Matt Miller is now like the second guy that does the mock stuff. Matt Miller, who was with Bleacher Report before, we booked him to do the Marks and Reese show, and the only time he could do was like 1:00 before the show. So we're trying to get Ike, like, hey, Ike, we want to record this interview. And with Ike, it's like, why are we recording Matt Miller? I'm like, yeah, but like he's good with ESPN. It's a mock draft and people know the name or whatever. So he's like, all right, fine. And then we get like Jack's texting him to confirm, and he's like not getting back. But then he's like, oh, I might not be able to do it. And Jack's like, okay, well, like when can you do it? And then he doesn't respond back, and then he responds back, but and then he just ghosts us, right? So we're like, maybe we can do it live. Maybe we'll do it another day. So Jack's like, well, maybe another day. He just never gets back to us. So I'm anti Matt Miller. But so Kuiper, he has it. And this is what I love the mock drafts for all the teams. I don't even I'll look at what the Eagles are doing.
Give me the grades for the whole league afterwards. I love all that stuff.
So here's his 2.0. Caleb Williams. Everybody agrees the Bears are drafting Caleb Williams and they're going to trade Justin Fields. Yeah.
Yep.
So you agree? So who do you think?
I'm not saying I think Caleb's going to be batshit crazy. I think he's going to be a lunatic in the league.
Yeah, his talent's great. Everybody says
I would never want him. I would never want him. Oh my! Until he's proven wrong. Until I'm proven wrong, I should say.
He has shown me that there are some. I'm not even going to say red flags. I don't think it makes him a bad guy or anything like that. But as far as being an NFL quarterback that is thought to have been, not just the number 1 overall pick, but a really, really good prospect, like an Andrew Luck type prospect to come out. Yep. So people are just waiting for him to fail, especially with the stuff that he did, crying to his mom and the way he acted at some of the press conferences and not speaking to the press. And when he didn't play in the bowl game, how his teammates reacted to it and his record against ranked teams. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there to be like, listen, there's some things to worry about with this guy. Bears are drafting him. I don't think anybody in the league cares about any of that stuff. No, he would go number 1 to almost any team out there. Now, where's Justin Fields go? Because I'm a Justin Fields fan.
I love Justin Fields. No, another quarterback I think that's gotten a bad rap.
Well, yeah, you get drafted by the Bears who suck, right? I'll put some of the blame on him too, but I want to see him go to a good spot. Atlanta, he grew up outside of Atlanta. Yeah.
Would love him in Atlanta, which would be hilarious after he transferred out of Georgia to go to Ohio State.
But they also,
are they going to love him or hate him?
They'll love him. They
hated him because he transferred out of Georgia.
Right. They've won national championships since then. I think they're over it. They had a chance to draft him. And they had a chance to draft him, and they took Kyle Pitts. And I was doing national radio at the time on Saturday or Sunday morning, I forget. And the biggest market that I was broadcasting to was Atlanta. I remember running up to the draft, and it was like, you're idiots if you don't draft Justin Fields. And all the Atlanta callers would say, yeah, but Matt Ryan and. Matt Ryan's not the biggest problem with this team, and it's like you don't draft this high very often. You have to make sure if there's a quarterback there, you have to get him. And they drafted Kyle Pitts, who's fine. He's a native of Willow Grove, Pennsylvania again, Kyle Pitts. So now they're going to be getting Justin Fields right now. Uncle Jamie checks in with the Steelers for Justin Fields, which has been a rumor.
Good spot. Patriots has been a rumor.
Patriots a rumor. Who else did I hear? But anyway, yeah. So Justin Fields. It's a matter of how many teams are involved and what they can get for him. I think he's worth more than a second-round draft pick. If you can get him for a second-round draft pick, that's a steal. Now, you're going to have to give him a contract. That's the bigger thing.
I would say he's worth more than a second-round pick as a talent, but I don't think he's ever going to get that.
Maybe a 2+ or whatever. Anyway, so McShay. So you have Caleb Williams. Jalen Daniels. For everybody that's going to say that you have to draft a quarterback. Like in New England right now, the conversation is you have to draft a quarterback. It doesn't matter. And I get it. But if your evaluation of the quarterback that's there is we're not sure about him, you don't take a quarterback. You have to be sure about him, right? And I've heard a lot of, but there's no quarterbacks coming out next year. Man, Jaden Daniels wasn't on anybody's radar last year. He wasn't thought to be a top 3 pick. And these guys coming out of nowhere. Joe Burrow wasn't thought to be a top pick, and then he had the year he had at LSU, and now look at him, right? So I don't buy this thing that you're not going to have.
And you could drop, too.
And you could drop. Exactly.
Matt Leinart dropped big. Barkley's dropped big. I know they're USC
for
guys,
sure. Yeah, for sure. And Spencer Rattler was thought to be a first-round draft pick at one point. Now he's going to be a mid-round.
He was
guy.
projected to be the first overall pick going in the last college football season, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm transferring." He didn't even finish the season at his college.
Yep. Uncle Jamie wants to do a live show on draft night.
Oh, in.
It's a good idea.
We'll go sit in your living room, your giant living room back there.
Yep, just come on. You can sit at the piano. I'll set you up over there, Dave. All right, so Jaden Daniels. I mean, I don't know, man. Washington, you have Cliff Kingsbury as the new offensive coordinator. I would take a quarterback if I'm Washington, because Drake May goes 3 to the Patriots. He has everything you're looking for as far as athleticism. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's got great touch on the deep ball. It's a matter of now coaching him up, and they're going to have a new coach. They have what's his name? Alex Van Pelt is running their offense up there now. The Patriots. They have a defensive head coach. So we'll see. Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Cardinals. Marv,
yeah, 6'4". They were talking about how they would love a Larry Fitzgerald situation because they drafted Larry Fitzgerald 4th overall, I believe.
I think it's a no-brainer at 4. 5, J.C. Latham from Alabama. You have the Giants taking the wide receiver from Washington. Let me see the next one. Malik Neighbors, who from LSU, he's thought to be.
He's going to be a stud.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 what are being called generational wide receivers here. You're going to get 2 or 3 guys that go in the top 10.
I love the top 3. Love the top 3 receivers.
For sure. Brock Bowers from Georgia. I think
he's a
him
monster.
Going top. He's a monster, but him going top 10. Kyle, you think Kyle Pitts is a good draft pick? That
not with what they needed and what they had, and the fact that they don't use him.
Right.
If they utilized him the last 3 years, I'd say it was a great pick at 4.
Jonnu Smith splashed more than Pitts a lot of times last
year.
And
the new coaching staff and GM just cut him because they obviously want to get Pitts not have any excuses to not get Pitts the ball.
Pitts was pretty good this year. JJ McCarthy 12. So if you watch Michigan games this past year, it seemed like they wanted to run the ball more than throw it. But JJ McCarthy, I think, is just 21 years old still. So you look at a guy like Penix, or who's the other quarterback that's like they're like 24. Yeah, Bo Nix is like 30.
Bo Nix has been in college as I've been in college.
Yeah. And it's like,
all
right.
Not actually.
JJ McCarthy's 3 years younger than him. So you're really going with upside here. You're looking at him and saying, like, we like all the physical attributes. He doesn't need to start right away necessarily.
He also he had a 72% completion percentage last year. Even it's like, okay, I know you're not throwing the ball as much as some of the other guys, but what are you doing when you throw the ball? You're doing it well? Great. Love it.
Right. Yeah, I think McCarthy is exactly where he should be going, which is in the teens. He may be a top 10 pick before we're all said and done here.
Oh, he's going to end up in the top 8 because you know how that goes. People trade up. The Jared Goff Wentz year, no one was saying those guys were going 1 and 2, and then the Rams traded up to 1, and like just to get Goff. It's like you didn't have to do that. No one was taking him at 1. And
it happens. It happens quick. JJ McCarthy is like. I've heard some people saying this for a while now, even during the season, is just wait till he has a pro day or a private workout. He's got that's when teams are going to be like, holy shit, this guy's good.
And apparently he's very well-mannered, well-spoken. Everybody loves his demeanor, the way he handles himself. Very
quarterback-ish. Yes. All right, so let's get down to the Eagles here at 22. Laiatu Latu, outside linebacker UCLA. Yes.
Ooh, he's a physical freak.
His medicals are what people are talking about.
He'd be a top 10 pick if he was perfectly healthy.
Yep. Easy. He had a neck injury, and a lot of people are comparing him to Jalen Phillips out of Miami, who he was a first-round draft pick, but there were teams that took him off their board because of the medicals. So you may get a team that says, like, hell no. And then you look at a guy like Howie, and it was like with Jalen Carter. He saw Jalen Carter, and he's like, I'm getting top 3 value where I'm drafting him right now. At 22, and I know it says outside linebacker, he's mostly an edge rusher, right? He's not. Right. He's not a like when you say the Eagles haven't drafted a linebacker since 1979. What they're really saying is like a traditional linebacker, not an edge rusher, not a TJ Watt or an edge rusher like Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick's basically a defensive end. They just play a hybrid defense. So
correct.
I'd be happy with that, man.
I would like that pick. I'm just so tired of the always drafting in the trenches in the first round. I know it's important. I think we do it very well for the most part. That's the one credit I will give to Howie. But you miss on one of these guys, and then you see the playmakers that go. You're like, shit, that sucks.
Yeah, agree.
And I feel like we've invested. Well, actually, perfect example. It's like I love Jordan Davis, but Kyle Hamilton is a beast. I would take that pick. I'll trade that pick back all over again.
So no, it wasn't. I was talking to my buddy Glenn Irby, who does the USA Today Eagles Wire. He also does the Ravens Wire. So he does the same thing. He manages that site as well. And we were talking about Kyle Hamilton. And if you watched even the playoff games, he stands out. He's a physical freak.
Dude,
he's faster than everybody else. He's a monster. He sacks the quarterback. He blitzes. He covers. And he was sliding in that draft too, because they don't value the freaking safety. Do you value the safety when you watch that team and you watch him play? Holy crap, man, he's good.
And we took Jordan Davis to pick before him. Not that I'm saying Jordan Davis is a bust. I think he's a good player. I would like that difference maker in my back end 100 times out of 100. And Howie just doesn't draft those type of players. He drafts the linemen. He drafts the D linemen. He drafts O linemen, unless he has something fall into his lap.
Yes, he does. All right, so the Jose from Norristown is watching live right now. If you don't know Jose, I would say is in the caller Hall of Fame, the Call of Fame, as far as because Angry Al claims that he's in the call. He's a Call of Famer.
We need
Jose from Norristown's an OG. I don't think he's been very much of a WIP caller in his heyday. He called me a couple times when I worked with Ike, but he was more of a "What up, Bruno?" He's a Bruno Mays 97.5 era guy. Jody Mack, early days of 950. Yep. Jose. And Angry Al. So Angry Al, if that's you, when are you coming on the show? I've been saying this. If this is the Angry Al, my longtime friend Angry Al, we got to get you on the show. Was Angry Al a big caller when you were at the station? Delco Steve, he was.
Yeah.
I didn't remember if he called in
every day
into Anthony.
Well, who did the Super Bowl thing at the end? Was at the end of every show. Remember someone would call in at the end of every show and go, Eagles are going to the Super Bowl.
Oh no, that wasn't Angry Al. That was Eagle Al no, that wasn't Angry Al. Yeah, that was it. That was Anthony's longtime guy.
There was another Al though. But he did call in frequently though.
Yeah, it was Al from something. No, he ended every Friday show or every show? Let's go Eagles Super Bowl.
I think it was every show. Every show. Unless it was just because I was on every Friday and that's the only reason I remember it.
Maybe. All right. Well, there you go. Angry Al, just DM me your email address and you can come on whenever you want. We can set up a day. I would love to have Angry Al. Angry Al's done stuff in studio. Him and Andy from Deptford went back and forth. He went at it with Chuck from Mount Airy. Speaking of Chuck from Mount Airy, do we have this one, Steve?
Yep.
So I saw this. Pat Gallen had messaged me. Pat Gallen from CBS 3. He didn't message me. This was on his Instagram story. So I don't know who Joe Murray is. Is that the cop or? But anyway,
I don't know.
So and Colleen Wolf put it up there. But some guy walked into Holt's. So I'm assuming it's Holt's Cigar Company. Because I don't know what else Holt's would be. With a Surfside hoodie on. Worker comments on it, and the guy goes, "They sponsor me." Worker asks, "Do they mind if ask what they sponsor you for?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm Chuck from Mount Airy."
What a flex.
So Pat was texting me saying the Surfside really sponsor him. And I don't believe it's an active sponsorship right now. I think they gave him some swag after everyththing went down. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
After Bryce Harper shouted him out. Yeah, they gave him some freebies, and maybe they talked about doing like a broad, like some type of a meet and greet or something. But I think that's as far as it went. So
yeah, I doubt he was cashing a huge paycheck on that one.
I don't believe that. Yeah, I don't believe that there's a current deal.
I would take free Surfsides to be sponsored by Surfside though.
Yeah, he had a hat.
Just give me the Surfsides. I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly right.
I just bought 2 12-packs of the peach tea yesterday when I was down at
So you
21.
drink Surfside?
Oh, I love them.
Surfsides
I love iced tea. I love iced tea. So the iced tea vodka mix is right in my wheelhouse.
That's definitely a Delco thing. The love iced tea.
Oh, dude, I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to iced tea. It's my go-to
Wawa?
drink for sure.
Wawa iced tea?
No, I actually make my own iced tea now. I got a friend. A friend gave me a recipe and I love it, so she hooked me up with it. Can't share it. It's family secret. She wasn't even supposed to tell me.
So I stopped drinking. My favorite thing in the world was Diet Turkey Hill orange iced tea. You can get it at oh, dude, it's so good. You wouldn't think it was good. You wouldn't think it was good. It's
that can't
the
be
best
good.
thing.
That can't be
good. The Turkey Hill decaf tea, and then their orange iced tea. Believe me, I would have thought the same thing, but it's really, really good. Their Diet Mango is really good as well.
But I probably was a Wawa tea drinker back in college.
Yeah, Dave Breitmeyer of WIP, Hipster Dave, he used to drink so much Wawa iced tea, it gave him like kidney stones or something.
I had to cut back on drinking iced tea a few years back because I was like, if I keep drinking iced tea like this, I'm just going to turn into a kidney stone. That's how much iced tea I was drinking, and it's bad. Like you drink black coffee, I'm assuming you're definitely black.
No way, no way.
Really, that surprises me.
I wouldn't drink coffee if I drink it black.
I have to put so much cream and sugar in my coffee that it's gonna give me diabetes one day.
Yeah, well, 1 scoop of Splenda and lots of cream. The problem is normally, like if I wasn't doing this, and we've been doing this for more than a couple of weeks now, I would definitely either be asleep or close to being asleep. And now I'm drinking a cup of coffee at 9:00 at night, and I'm finishing the last swigs at like 9:30. So now I go upstairs and I feel like shit because I want to go to bed,
sitting there,
but I can't.
Tapping.
Yeah, and I can't fall asleep. So then like I'm on my phone and I just want to go to sleep. And even when I do fall asleep, it's not for long. And then I'll wake up to take a leak because I got to go to the bathroom all the time because I'm old. And then I can't go back to sleep. So this is totally disrupted my sleep cycle. I was probably the best sleeper that I was a consistent sleeper.
You have another Diet Orange decaf tea fan in the chat. I can't believe there's two of you, but
Uncle Jamie's also a huge fan, which he's probably texting me right now.
What was it, Turkey Hill?
Yep.
They still make it?
Yep. Yeah, I'm
gonna have to go find it and try it, I guess.
The turkey, no, they should be at most grocery stores. It's in the refrigerated section. It is so good.
I'll try it.
It is so good. But yeah, the diet orange is unbelievable. I could drink a whole thing, but it's been.
I don't believe you, but I'll try it.
It's been months since I've had some, and I was off of that, and I'm trying to get back off of the energy drinks.
I'll go find it and I'll try it live on air for the first time.
All right, good. But the problem with getting off the energy drinks is then I just drink more coffee, and coffee has calories, and it's better for you.
Energy drinks are at least 0.
Yeah, there's no calories. That's why I'm like, well, I can drink as many of these. It doesn't matter. Coffee has calories, but then, the energy drinks are probably taking a week off my life every one I drink. So
it's probably like battery acid.
Can we do some buzzer beaters before we get out of here? Did you see the end of that Cavs game last night?
I did see that.
So
do you want the call or do you want the live or the
give
live
me the call?
Feed?
Give me the call and then get the live feed. So this is all timer right there. Anyway.
No, that was a great shot.
Have you ever been to what's the best game that you've been to for something like that? Like what?
Well,
I've seen multiple no hitters. I was at the World Series perfect game no hitter, which wasn't a good thing.
The opposite, yeah. One of the random craziest game. I was at a Flyers game. They were down like 7-0 to Winnipeg in early second, and my dad are sitting there, and we never left the game early at any point ever. And we're sitting there like, are we actually going to leave this game early? And it was just like, well, whatever. We'll just sit here and watch. Next thing you know, it's 8-8 going into the end of the third period, and they lost 9-8.
They lost in overtime after all that.
No, I don't even think they got to overtime. I thought they lost in regulation 9-8.
Get out of here.
And they got it all the way back to 8-8, though. And we were one of half the people sitting in the crowd still. Most of the stadium had left. And we're like, oh, this is awesome. Great. It worked out. Nope. They lost.
Well, it would have been it would have been more memorable. Well, it would have been better for you that night, but it's almost a better story that they lost and you stuck.
Oh, they didn't deserve they didn't deserve the win. They didn't deserve the win for a second. I was okay with them losing, but it would just been a way cooler story if they won.
Yeah, for sure. Tomorrow night we'll go over the Eagles' schedule. Obviously he's not out, but I hadn't even done this.
We know who they're going to play.
Yeah, we know who they're going to play, and I was looking at it today. It's like, wow, this is not going to be an easy schedule, man.
Nope.
So we'll do a little bit of that tomorrow night. So let's play Skip Bayless. I want to play this before we get out of here. So this is who is he on with now? Is it just alternate between Keyshawn and is it Keyshawn every day or is it Keyshawn a couple days a week?
I'm not positive.
I don't really know.
Skip is definitely not my type, my cup of tea, so I avoid him at all costs.
Well, I don't watch a lot of the shows. I just look at the clips if they're good.
Yeah.
Well, here's Keyshawn and Skip, and they're talking about Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is going to be a free agent. The Giants can franchise him again, and they're even like kind of considering it. At least publicly, that's what the GM's saying. And they're talking about. Yeah, they would be dumb. So they're talking about where I think they're talking about where he could end up going. Here it is.
If they want him, they can have him. I don't want him.
You got a diaper on right now? Because if Philly get him, you know you're going to need a diaper.
Stop.
No, ain't going to be no stop. You're going to need a diaper if Philly get him.
They got
you're
Kevin
going to be scared,
Byard.
you know what?
They got Shaq Leonard. I'm scared to death. I kept telling you. I'm laughing, and they lose 6 of their last 7.
All right.
Okay. They lost the first
if you say
playoffs.
so, Skip.
Okay.
There it is.
They got knocked out of the playoffs before we did. What the hell is he talking about?
Well, they lost 6 of 7, but like, when was the last time the Cowboys were anything? Skip.
Yep.
Wearing a diaper. All right. So, would you be interested in Saquon on a short-term contract for the Eagles?
No, it depends. It all depends on the number. I'm always all depends on the numbers guy.
$10 million.
He wants to come. No. Hell no.
I mean, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what.
Is he good? Well, but
he's not going to be worth.
Is he even going to have what's his market look like out there? Who wants to throw a lot of money?
There's going to be so many. Did you see all the running backs that are going to be available?
Yeah,
Epper's available. Jacobs available. There's going to be a lot of guys looking for work.
I want a good running back. I'm just not stupid enough to pay him.
No, I want to find a good running back.
I want to draft him. I don't
want to draft that dumbass out of San Diego State when 13 other NFL running backs got drafted or were signed as unrestricted free agents.
He's 27, and he just turned 27. Saquon Barkley. I honestly I worry about, and I'm trying to see how many games he. I know he's been healthy.
He missed a few games last year because he got hurt again. But the year before that, he was pretty healthy.
14 games this year, 16 games. When I say this year, I mean 2023. 14, 16, 13. So for the most part, he's been healthy. But he averaged under 4 yards a carry this year.
Yeah, that team was in shambles this year.
No, I know.
I'm not going to hold that against Barkley, but I don't know. I don't see paying a running back $10 million a year if they're not your total focal point of your offense at this point.
He had 10 total touchdowns, which is it's not bad. 962 rushing yards, 280 passing yards. Yeah. I mean, even 2022,
and that's a high number for him for receiving yards.
Even 2022, he only averaged 4.4 yards a carry. You look at his average yards per carry in his career. Like his first 2 years, he was really good. That's 2018, 2019, right? 3.7, 4.4, 3.9. His last 3 years. I'm out, man. No thank you.
Yeah. If you got him on the same type of deal that maybe not as long, but per year wise as Sanders got in Carolina, sure. I would take him over Sanders, but I'm not paying him a ton of money by any means.
All right. How come you won't tweet Jose? How come you won't say what up, Jose?
I can't type in the chat because I come up as you.
Oh, is that why? I mean, just tweeting in general. Do you follow Jose from Norristown on Twitter?
No, I
don't even know if he tweets anymore.
I was gonna say I don't even look at my notifications. I saw Vince's notification the other day though.
Oh really? Yeah, I don't look at my notifications either. Actually, I go on Instagram. All right, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. It's weird. Sometimes I totally forget about putting any of these things up, like tonight. Maybe it's because
we got right into it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any power either. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do the show, or if we were on during the show and I zapped out and you were just sitting there. Now that would be good.
I would
shop
good.
Shopperlittledetail.com. What would you do?
If you couldn't get on, I had to sit here by myself. Just like that. Yeah, we would end the show probably. No, I'm kidding.
Shopperlittledetail.com.
We'd be doing some Flyers talk for sure, right off the bat.
Oh, dude, and I'm telling you, people out there, this show's getting branded as a big Flyers talk show.
Love it.
Not because of me.
You're welcome.
That's for sure. Thank you. All right, listen, I would love to be able to talk about the Flyers. All right, there you go. Email me, johnmarksmedia@gmail.com. Had a number of people emailing me the last few days. Thank you very much for that. Make sure you comment when you do watch it. Comment on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube @JohnMarksMedia. And don't follow Steve. Follow him on Instagram. Don't follow him on Twitter because you'll just be disappointed because he doesn't ever tweet.
I entertain on Instagram for sure.
Well, for sure. And by the way, like follow me on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. Nobody ever follows me after doing this. It's like, wow, I've actually lost 5 followers in the last week, not gained.
You lost the porn stars.
Yeah, I probably lost bots. But anyway, like we're getting a couple hundred people that are watching the show on a daily basis. So it's like, all right, well, there's got to be people out there that don't follow me on Instagram. So follow me on Instagram.
Well, a lot of these guys probably don't have Instagram either.
@JohnMarksMedia. Well, you should.
They might not be picture guys.
Well,
there's a lot of interesting stuff on Instagram. You guys will love it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Be well.
Peace.